Hey, Tadie here from the Online Seller Circle, and I want today to talk to you about VA communication channels and the effectiveness of communication and how it can help you foster a really good working relationship between you and also your virtual team members. I want to go through and show you the communication system that we use within our business that you can use too and adopt, and 4 vital communication channels for you to use to communicate effectively with your team. Also, we'll discuss the access levels, who should have access to those channels, and also when you should use them as well throughout the weeks and months within your business. First, look at the 4 vital communication channels that you should be using within your business from day one. If you have a business partner, then as you onboard your team of sourcing VAs, and then as you progress through the ranks and you onboard your senior VAs, your operations VAs, utilising a prep centre, and also an accountant as well, who may be a third-party service if you're not doing it in-house yourself. Now here we can see 4 main components. So the first channel is Zoom, the second one is Loom, the third one is Asana, and the 4th one is Slack. Now Zoom is for any virtual face-to-face communication that you're going to have with your team or third-party services. So where you can jump on a virtual call with an individual within your team, or indeed your team members actually conducting a monthly team meeting. You can use a free account and have a meeting up to a length of 40 minutes under a free account without having to pay anything. And during that meeting you can invite a number of people to share their screen, but also share their video so you can see them and hear them whilst you're communicating. Now this is a great tool to use for interviewing and onboarding, going through that recruitment process for new virtual assistants who are coming on board into your team, but also ongoing during one-to-ones. They should always happen on Zoom, and also any team meetings that you do on a monthly basis. Loom is a screencast tool that allows you and your team members, just like I'm doing right now, to record a video either of themselves, or they can record a video of their screen, so actually going through a process. And Loom serves really well because not only can you see visually you can see someone's screen or the person, but you can also hear them too. So if they need to communicate something with you that is rather complex and it's too complex to actually explain over a message on Slack or Asana, they can actually create a quick video showing you the situation, explaining it, sharing their screen, and they can also talk over that video as they're doing it at the same time. Now we use Loom quite widely within our businesses, and also our virtual assistants also have access to their own personal accounts that we share through LastPass, which enables them to obviously log in and create their videos, and then once that video is created, it then generates a link that they can then share with me, with the rest of the team if needs be, and vice versa if I need to provide an update on a particular process, whether it be that I want them to specifically source in a specific way for a period of time. I can then create a video, and that link can then be accessed by whoever has been sent it. It's absolutely free to use, up to 25 videos per account, and that's one of the reasons why I have my own personal account for the business, and then we create separate accounts for each of our virtual assistant team members to actually have access to. So we just use their team login emails, and they are then able to access Loom via LastPass, so they won't need a password for that Loom account, and that means then that we've got full control over that Loom account and also the videos that are available under each of them too. Now, the third communication channel is Slack, and Slack again is a free tool that you can utilize to set up a workspace, which would be your company name. And under that workspace, you can then create various channels for individuals to communicate. So you could have a leadership channel where you and perhaps your business partner are just in that channel and you can communicate via message. It's very similar to WhatsApp, but it's a lot more complex. You can do a lot more things with it and there's a lot more features available. We've also got a sourcing channel where all of our sourcing virtual assistants are inside that channel and they can communicate with themselves as a team, but also with the manager that sat within that channel. We then also have a prep center channel whereby whoever in my team is responsible for managing the inventory and the prepping side of the business, they will have access to the prep center channel so that they can communicate with the prep center team regarding any general concerns or issues, any updates that need to be provided from either the prep center side or from the business's side as well. And you can add or remove people as you progress within each of those channels on Slack. And the final one is Asana. Now, Asana is, again, a free software tool and it acts as a project management CRM piece of software, which is absolutely fantastic and definitely something to consider. We thoroughly recommend that you utilize Asana within your business. It enables you to create teams, and in each team you can then create a specific project or a number of projects in relation to your business. So for example, you can save all of the tasks in relation to human resources, you can save finance information in there, create tasks and then share that information with your accountant. You can also create projects in line with your senior VAs and also your sourcing team so that they know what to do on a daily basis. And they're really the two major forms of communication that you would use on a daily basis, both Asana and Slack. Obviously, Zoom is used for meetings, and that would be less regularly or less frequently on a weekly/monthly basis. And then Loom is more an ad hoc tool that you can utilize, and obviously share the links to those videos within either the CRM that you're using, Asana, or indeed if it's direct, if you need to send it quickly on a daily basis to the sourcing team, for example, or your prep center team, you can then send that link via the Slack channel. Now, one thing that's really important is to ensure that if you're going to use communication channels, that you make sure that all of your team are aware of what communication channels that they need to use and that you are using within your business, and also how they use them and when to use them as well. It's also really important not to provide too many forms of communication such as Facebook, WhatsApp and email, because otherwise you or your virtual team members are not going to really understand whether, what actual platform they should be using. So too many cooks can kind of spoil the broth. So it's really important to make sure that when you are delivering this information, whether it's on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, that all the team members know exactly what communication channel to use so that they don't miss any communication that they receive from you, because obviously that's vital. If you need to get in contact with them ASAP, what is going to be your go-to communication channel? And that virtual assistant needs to be able to ensure that they're checking that on a daily basis so that they don't miss any notifications. And indeed, the majority of these you can actually set up notifications that then ping when they're when they're actually in the platform, or they can set them up in line with getting email prompts or desktop prompts when they're at work during working hours. Let's take a look at the communications system and how you would utilize these tools with each of your virtual assistants. So if we take a look at this flowchart here, and this is in relation to the virtual sourcing team on a weekly basis, and with obviously the team manager. So on a daily basis, your virtual sourcing team members are going to have access to the sourcing channel within your Slack workspace. And if they need to communicate with you for whatever reason, they would do that usually via text within that Slack channel. They can add any JPEGs, they can add any documents that they need to, and so can you or their specific manager if you're using a senior VA who's actually responsible for the management of those team members. So Slack's going to be the go-to communication channel that they are going to use on a daily basis. And then they're going to have their weekly one-to-ones with either yourself, or if you're using a senior virtual assistant to manage each of those teams, they'll then conduct weekly one-to-ones at a set time and on a specific day every single week. Now those meetings would usually last for 15 to 20 minutes, no more, and they're conducted via Zoom. You want that to be face-to-face, so if there's any updates or they need to share their screen at all, then they can utilize Zoom. On a monthly basis as well, you may wish to have all of your team members attend a monthly team briefing where everyone gets together, and you as a business owner can then provide the business update, more of a kind of directory role where you're providing them with an update in terms of the departments, so total units sourced in terms of percentage, recognizing any efforts from specific team members, the purchasing team, the business health team, etc. That needs to be conducted on a monthly basis. Again, usually the same date of every month or the day of every month, and that would also be conducted via Zoom as well, making sure that everyone has access to that recurring meeting link and they're also aware of the time and the date that that's taking place. As a business owner, you may also be responsible, unless you've got senior VA to do this, to actually conduct your biannual performance reviews of all your team members. So each virtual partner, depending on when they've started with you in the business, every 6 months and every 12 months, you should really be conducting performance reviews and doing the prep work before you actually conduct those meetings, and then utilizing Zoom as your platform of choice to actually have that meeting with the individual, feedback on their performance, and also provide them with the opportunity for them to actually feedback to you as well. And the final one is any ad hoc communication can be done via Loom. Now, whilst you can't communicate on Loom, you use Loom as a form of communication. So you would record your screen, equally your virtual assistants can record their screen, or a specific message just face to face, such as a daily update, for example, and then they can obviously share the link for that specific video that if they created via the Slack channel. So this is specifically the system that you can see here for the virtual sourcing team members and the manager who is responsible for managing those team members. This process for communication, this system you can see here, is for senior virtual assistants team members with their manager. So if you've actually got senior virtual assistants working for you, the likelihood is that one of them is actually managing the sourcing team. So this would be the system that they follow with that team. And then this is the system that you are going to follow with that senior virtual assistant. Now, each of them, if you've got more than one, on a daily basis, then rather than you communicating with them on Slack like they would do or you would do with your sourcing team here, you're actually going to be communicating with them on Asana, because you're going to be using Asana as your main CRM, your project management software, to and set up a project for each of those sourcing team members where they will then have their daily tasks set out for them, whether they're one-off tasks or the recurring tasks. and this is where they will be able to update you within the comments section of each task, and equally vice versa, you can do that too on a daily basis, so you can see and track how well they're doing in line with the KPIs that they've been set, and also the standard tasks that they're required to do on a daily, weekly and monthly basis. You'll also, as a business owner, conduct weekly one-to-ones specifically with your senior team. If you haven't got an operations manager in place, then you're going to be responsible for actually conducting those weekly one-to-ones with those individual senior team leader members, because that's really important. If they are responsible, one of them is responsible for managing the sourcing team, you need to ensure that you're meeting with them on a weekly basis and you're feeding back any changes, any updates that are required for them to then feed down that channel to the team that are sourcing for the company. Again, on a monthly basis, they will also attend the monthly team meeting where everyone attends, and that would be a longer meeting usually than the weekly one-to-ones, which are around about 15 to 20 minutes. A monthly meeting may last anything between 45 to 60 minutes depending on the agenda. Again, that takes place same time, same date every month, and they'll need to have access and know exactly when that's taking place, so that they can click on the link that is usually shared within their Asana project, so that they can attend that meeting on time. Again, you'll complete the biannual performance reviews with the senior virtual assistant team members, and you'll do that prepping in advance and then conducting that meeting via Zoom as the preferred communication channel. They'll also have access to their own business Loom account, which is free via LastPass, and again on an ad hoc basis, if they need to create any videos that they need to share specifically with the sourcing team members, they can then utilize that platform and share it through the Slack channel with the sourcing team. But also if they need to share those Loom videos with you or your operations manager, then that will be shared directly within the relevant task and project on Asana. The last communications system that we've got here is actually the senior management team of the company and the accountant. So if you are using an external bookkeeper or even an internal bookkeeper, but an external accountant to do your books and or then file your annual returns, you want to ensure that you are actually meeting with them. Usually it's best virtually, especially if they are within a different area of the UK to you, or you're actually in a different country. Then it's not going to be feasible for you to meet with them in person. It's obviously more cost effective to do it virtually as well, and they can have access to the meeting link that you set up via Zoom, so that they can actually then attend those meetings on the times and dates that you've booked them. If you have got a senior manager or an operations manager or even a business partner also within the business, then it would be a good idea, if they are responsible for the side of certain aspects of the finance side of the business, to also attend those meetings. And it's usually a really good idea to make sure that you're meeting with your accountants, your finance department, let's say, regardless of whether they're internal or external, on a monthly basis, just to check on your P&L, any updates with regards to corporation tax, VAT, etc., that you need to be aware of, that if there are, that you can then obviously obtain that information virtually during that meeting on a monthly basis, and then feed that back down into the chain to your virtual team. You also ideally want to meet with your accountants virtually and any senior team members to also attend that meeting on an annual basis, just to ensure that your tax returns are correct and have been reviewed and before the accountant actually goes ahead and files that for you. So just any irregularities or anything as such that needs to be discussed, anything that needs to be changed or altered, that can be done, and it's more easier to get an answer to any queries that you have, but also from your accountant side as well if you're doing that face to face. And you can also share screen, like I've said earlier, which means that if you're not understanding certain aspects that the accountant has emailed you about, it's a lot easier to get an outcome and a resolution to any issues or challenges over a meeting via Zoom. So utilize these flowcharts as examples within your business to set out exactly how you're going to communicate with the current team members and external third parties that you're utilizing in your business at the moment, and then also how you can utilize them going forward as you build and you grow your team.